So he said for us that if Estonians would like to go to Paris, to the world exhibition, they have only few things to demonstrate to the world, which are totally unique. One of them was Estonian old alliterative songs. He is saying that he also proposed that Estonian incantations or charms. I'm strongly against. I'm sure that he didn't say it, but he said also that part of mythology. So I was at that time interested more in theatre and all kind of totally different things. And I was so silly that I got a kind of state stipendium to go to a theatre institute, not in Estonia. At that time in Estonia, there was kind of theatre experiments and kind of theatre innovation period. But I visited some theatres in Moscow and in Lithuania, and I thought that the main paradise for theatre is somewhere not in Estonia, but in other parts. So I got the state stipendium, and during the 2 worst weeks, I understood that it's not my place at all. The thing was that I was just 18 years old, and actually St. Petersburg wanted people who were 30 or more years old. It was the first one and the second one, but actually in St. Petersburg I met some diaspora Estonians, and I thought, and I was terrified, how long it takes that I will look such a weird person, far from my homeland, which is quite close, and at the same time, like looking non-existing Estonia. And the third thing was that the supervisor of this, my year was old Stalinist. So when we met first time and he described how important theatre plays we have in Estonia and described something from the early 50s, I realized that thank you very much, back to Tartu. So I made a rush turn back to Tartu, and I realized that I will go and I try my teacher spoke truth or not. At the same time, I was very interested in all kind of esoterics and so on. And I was quite stupid, quite naive. So I went to the commission and I said, that I would like to make research about verbal charms. I would like to make research about all kinds of esoteric things and maybe shamanism. So the poor person as a head of commission was terrified, but nothing to do. I had very good results of examinations, so I started my boring journey at Tartu University. So it took a while. Then we started with a group of telling and putting as a small place folklore from different nations, and also I started to study the verbal charms. It was very interesting. So basically I investigated plenty incantations, Estonian and European versions, all kind of healers, witches and witchcraft, and very much mythology, especially Scandinavian and Estonian mythology. And listen that just now I tried to turn back to the time 10 years ago and investigate more animal and non-animal relationship, which was my idea before I started as second time as a leader of Center of Excellence. Center of Excellence was actually a very good time because we had together philosophers, linguists, and all kind of humanity people. I mean, it means that you will have more all kind of different opinions, and you must make kind of co-creation of different things. So we also had in our company Sasha Babic, who was a leader for contemporary research and so on. So there was plenty of interesting things. Before I'm starting, I must say that again, also brain research and psychology, medical persons, we are trying to investigate the dream, sleeping, and so on. But there is not exact results. I think so that let us speak at first, because dreams are something very special, because you can physically realize that you are dreaming, but at the same time your physical body is reacting to the dreams, what you can see, and so on. And another interesting thing is that actually you must speak about them, or you realize them as pictures in your mind. They can be a starting point for your artwork, but also if you must write or tell about them, they are also special genre or special thing you must use so or so some genre of different stories, different narratives. Maybe they are independent subgenre of personal experience stories, but definitely they are personal belief stories. So if we are looking back, it's very obvious that many of theoretical researchers are developed theories about the soul, especially plenty of theoretical work written about the different types of human soul. As you can see, it starts from Wilhelm Wundt, who was quite successful in this field. And he divides actually the soul to two parts. One of them is so-called Körperseele, body soul, and another is Freiseele, or free soul, which can leave and come back. There are many interesting problems, and I know that there are plenty of researchers who are strongly against the dualistic formulation, free soul and body soul. Like Ernst Ortmann proposed when he investigated ancient Indian texts. But so or so, probably it was Åke Hultkrantz from Sweden, who proposed that there are definitely, if the people have pluralistic view about the soul, the people have also so-called dream soul. It means that one part of a soul can go around the world, see something interesting, and come back. I think that Oscar Looritz proposed it several times in connection with Estonian and Livonian folk belief or folk religion or vernacular religion, has proposed Leonardo Primiano. But interesting for me is that Ivar Paulson, who worked with basically with printed books and with Estonian data also, he stated that whole Eurasian area, actually right up to the high cultures, form belief in pluralistic souls, and that they can, one part of them can wander around. So he also was interested to propose and to clear that all nations, they have special dream soul. As I said, there are many people who are against, and I must here suggest the recent books of Eva Boch, who actually made a collection of South European and other peoples, also Baltics and so on, and who collected and added more information on the soul and soul descriptions in Europe. And I think it's very, very good addition, because there are many people actually, if you are looking to Paulson, Artman, Hultkrantz and so on, they are very interested in Northern Europe. I mean, it means that South and under the South is not under attention. So Eva Boch was the person who added plenty about information about with co-authors, of course, with all kind of European cultures. If we are looking more deep, we can see that all folk belief scholars, they also investigated kind of primitive cultures. And I mean, it means that animation and soul are the basic things that they are draw attention. Taylor had paid more attention to the illusory and reality part of a real society. And if you read them all through, you can see that the basic interpretations are repeating one and the same. We all know that in Babylonia and during the antiquity, many nations, they had kind of clay tables or something with symbols and dictionaries of dreams. And it is actually what is very much investigated by the late researchers who lived later. We all know also all kind of strange ideas of Sigmund Freud, who interpreted the dreams like desires or forbidden desires and so on, which are in daytime, they are socially controlled and not in the foreground. So universal dreams, he said, are very important to understand what is actually your real desires and so on. But I like very much Carl Jung, who spotlighted the symbols and symbolic interpretation, but he has not kind of under pressure these desires or something quite extraordinary. And I draw your attention also to very famous German folklorist and folk belief researcher Seligman, who actually was one of the first who said that actually dreams are closely related to folklore. They actually consist from important symbols, but they at the same time can give it to you information about real illnesses of a person, or they can also say what will happen in the society in the near future. So we can say that many very famous theoretical persons, but also people who try to repeat the things on their own ethnic data repeated one and the same. Maybe I tried to find out some persons who are more interesting. I think Lincoln, who are again investigated. If you are looking to the dreams and also communication with dead persons, it's like universal to all ethnic groups. But at the same time, you can see that North American Indians are one very important group who was under the investigation. So Lincoln was the first one who divided the dreams of North American, some Indians, like individual dreams, and he said that they are not absolutely unimportant for the society, and culturally patterned dreams, which include important messages about the whole group, or at least the closest group for the person. So in 40s and 50s, I think that the huge group was quite close because there was so many work done with personal corpus of data, but also in theories, and they just reached to the cross-cultural similarities and differences. But we must say that after the Second World War, many things changed, and it was also so with the dream stories, dream narratives, and so on. So, although there are many interesting theoretical work done in 60s, 70s, and so on, we must say that something interesting starts to happen again during the 80s. Not only because they tried to explain all kinds of models of creation and models of myths, but also kind of structural analytical methods were quite good. And if we are looking to the 80s more closer look, we can see that there starts also really struggle to combine psychology and cultural studies. And maybe one which is again very typical to 80s, they are very much dealing with a mentally ill or emotionally ill or physically ill persons, and they try to find out how different are their dreams, their narratives, their linguistic skills, and so on. It is connected with many topics, not only with dreams. And what are the results? Of course, different. Why not? It means that maybe mentally ill persons, they don't have so wide worldview, or they somehow cannot interpret the visions they have, and so on. Also, I think quite important is the Devereux and his ethnopsychiatry. And again, if you try to repeat his experiments and so on, you can understand very, very soon that he was actually a great guru, great teacher. But you are not able to repeat all his results. So interesting, but also closely connected with a person of theoretical school. And as last, I would like to demonstrate to you Barbara Teglock, who is not folklorist, but partly worked also with folklore texts. And her opinion is that all dreams are distributed very differently. So the persons have, they can, of course, spread from person to person, but there are behind of every dreamer and all behind of every culture, there are specific cultural code, and it quite varying, quite different from nation to nation. So I think it's again a question about experiments which we must do or continue, because it's interesting, but it works or not depends on many things. And I wanted to demonstrate to you also some results from Russian ethno-linguistic school. And it's especially done because I'm quite sure that the Russian school, also Russian ethno-linguistic school, is not so well known as it maybe must be, because they made a quite huge comparison with whole Slavic nations, including not only Eastern, but sometimes they also tried to make kind of comparison with South Slavic or Western Slavic peoples. So first, quite interesting is Alexander Kura. And again, nothing especially new. Yes, if you are thinking about the previous theoretical thinkers. But interesting is, of course, the form of an individual narrative. And the opinion that actually the personal dreams, they connect something which is basically coming from cultural text or from books and so on and so on. But our details are coming primarily from the heart of dreamer, and it's not so obvious how it worked out. Also, quite good research is done by Sergei Nekludov. I must say that this Russian scholar who actually worked for years in Estonia with together with semiotic school. So he's not semiotician, but he has kind of picture. And actually again, not only books, not only traditional dictionaries, but more. Or Mikhail Lurie, who is working in St. Petersburg, and who is again repeating the same. the plots found of emblems, but more. The huge book about dreams are written by Safronov, who investigating more the place where the people are going during the dreaming. And he actually divides the three different places. One of them is the real place, but there is added some new elements, objects, properties, and so on, or some reduction, simplification of image of real space, or mixing and making combination between all different places. Basically the same, using different terms. It's very interesting how different terms the scholars can use, and sometimes you need kind of dictionary or interpreter who can say to you that this term is actually the same as for our theoretical person, and so on. So I myself looked a bit about prophetic dreams. Again, specific place, or sometimes not real place. It depends very much. What about more? If we are looking to the dreams and communication with third person, it's very obvious that the translation is depending from the time. So somehow the interpretation at the beginning of 20th century are different, and also communication with Ted is a bit different from other times. And also conventions. There are some norms written into the culture, and you must look and follow the conventions. If you are not doing this or that, it means that you are somehow also dreaming about the broken conventions. I put here as an example one dream from Siberia. It's Siberian Estonian. It's from 70s, and I think it's interesting because if you are looking to the biography of a narrator, you can see that she was quite exceptional. He knew very well all kind of folk belief and folklore. And at the same time, she was at first the leader of young communists, and after that, she was in high position communist. All the time, again, following some basic conventions in the poor rural Estonian area. Because most of Estonians in Sayan Mountains, they are villagers. And he is describing one special situation. She's sitting and watching at night before the funeral her mother's body. And he actually dreamed how the mother is coming into the room and saying to her, actually, she gives a slap to her face and saying, "You cannot handle anything. The candles have gone out." Actually, the watcher must follow that the candle are all the time around the body, and they are lighting. So she woke up. She was quite worried. And he understood that candles are really gone out, and she was especially impressed by his mother's voice and the style how mother told to her. He was very good correspondent and sent from Sayan Mountains many stories about his life and about folk belief in Estonian villages. So, as she said, mother was not happy what kind of choices her daughter made, and she wrote additional remark that actually the voice of mother and also the slap, they were very real. So she was absolutely sure that mother, it was the mother, the mother who came and woke her up. So I'm quite sure that just now I demonstrate to you some communication with Dave and dreams coming from different areas of Estonia. Estonia is just now called like one of the most secular countries in the world. Actually, we have quite strict Lutheran Protestant background, and for example, my mother is not belong to the church, and I'm also not belonging to the church, but we had in our town clergyman, pastor, who greeted every time all people and asked how are you doing and so on. So somehow he had connections between all the citizens in the small city. Here is some pieces from a man called Johannes Cikel. He lived in the north of Estonia, somewhere here, quite close to the seashore. And interesting is that he visited many places in his parish center, but also he visited sometimes kind of Orthodox small chapel and so on. So his dreams are closely connected with his parish. And we can say that he's moving around is some 20-30 kilometers from the home. And he saw many different dreams. But I think most interesting are the dreams which are connected with dead persons in the home parish. He met them several times after visiting different villages, not exactly after the visit, but later. And another thing is, which is also very interesting, he saw in his dreams how some persons with parish they are planting or uprooting the trees. Uprooting the trees, mainly in Estonian tree vocabulary, it means that the person will die very soon. So the Johannes was very worried and asked, why you are uprooting? Why you are killing the trees? And the answer was that they will be moved to Caucasia or some other place in Russia, and only part of them will die. So he was absolutely sure that he saw who from his village will die and who will live longer time. I don't know why it happened. I found also from Võrumaa one person, again, men who wrote diary. This parish is quite huge. So basically, he saw dreams connected with closer area. But he wrote also in his diary the dreams of other villagers. And when to speak about, again, about the communication with dead, I think quite interesting was how he, in some nice day, he saw a young village boy who was actually shot by the Germans and put into the forest under the trees. So when he wake up, he went to the family and said that he knows where the body is. And he actually found out where the dead is lying. When I analyzed all the diary, I must say that he was more active to seeing different dreams until he was 35 years old. I don't know why. Maybe it was before the marriage. Maybe there was some quite crazy times of starting with Soviet power, under Soviet power. And I must say that also some part of his dreams are the meeting with Hitler, Stalin, or Mussolini. And interesting is that when Mussolini was dead, already dead, the village man saw that Hitler comes to him and says, this poor guy, this Italian, stupid Mussolini, he was only journalist. Look how bad solution about the profession of Mussolini. He was all the time such a strange person, and he got what he wanted. So, of course, we can say that probably he saw some news about the death of Mussolini in the journals or newspapers, probably. but why to meet with Hitler and to talk about Mussolini? I don't know. Okay, and I wanted to demonstrate also one interesting thing which is connected with Orthodox area. Namely, after the independence, Estonia got a huge territory from southeastern part of Estonia. It was not only Orthodox part, but they belonged all the time to the empire, never to the Baltic or Livonian part of empire. So they were lived closely connected with Russians and so on. So just now, in contemporary times, Estonia preserved a very, very small part of settlement. So if we are looking to these dreams, we can see that the messages and dreamings are totally different because we are dealing more with church icons, with saints, and so on. So part of them is not connected with dead persons, but some of them, vice versa, are like the deceased who comes to the meadow to inform about the memorial table. Memorial table, which is put on the grave. I mean, it means that you put all your food, drinks, and so on the grave, and you are drinking with all your relatives and honoring the deceased, the left person. So sometimes the persons report that the table on the grave is not in order or it's not prepared. Or sometimes interesting are also, I think it is kind of like many fairy tales and many legends, where people try to know what will happen in near future, or will they die or not, or how looks like the other side, the hell or the paradise. So again, here is one personal story when the person is entering to the cemetery and he met dead dad, and he's sitting on rock and asking what you are doing in cemetery. And the son actually is answering that he actually afraid that he will die, but the dad is answering that you don't have a place for your soul. I mean, it means that you cannot come. It not happens with you. Or quite interesting are also kind of moral conflicts. Here is one which is very, very often repeated in legends. Kill or not to kill your children who is you are pregnant, you are not married, and so on. What to do? Maybe kill the baby and say that he died, or hide, and so on. It seems very, very strange, but if we are looking to these 30s handwritten stories, we can see that sometimes somebody in dreams gets a good advice. And here is the son, Mare Ko, says that don't go, don't kill this baby. He won't live long with you. And it's really not healthy child, so he died 4 weeks later. So, I mean, it means that you don't have a sin on your soul. And the question of sin or not doing sin is for Orthodox people very important. Not so important in just now in everyday life, but at that time very much. When some dead persons are saying that you must not work that Sunday, I think it is a good opinion also for us today, not to work on Sunday. We must have also time for party and so on. Interesting are all kind of dreams where the people are thinking, what happened with me? For example, look at the next example. Actually, the person sees his own soul, and the soul in the form of doll actually lying to her. He's saying that you will die soon, but it never happens. Good solutions again. Let God pray for your soul, and so on. So the person donated, but for poor, and so on and so on. I think here is one of the most interesting dreams from the 20s. During the first Republic in Estonia, actually the church and the state was separated immediately. So not only in Soviet Russia, but also in Estonia. I mean, it means that the theological lessons, they are free. If you want, please, you can go to the lessons of Bible and so on. If not, you are free, not accepted. I think it was something which demonstrating to us how many problems people have in everyday life. As I said, we got this unliterated. It was great surprise if the territory which has Estonian language schools and training starting from very beginning of 16th century, and at the beginning of 20th century, you will have plenty of approximately 60,000 people who are not educated in primary school nor having family names. So they started with putting family names and so on. But mainly, the huge problem for the people were divided state and church. It was problem also in mainland. Also, as I said, Protestants are quite so, but anyhow. And you can see that at first they actually again remark one of the previous kind of important dream was during the New Year's Eve, and just here it is a morning of Pentecost, first holiday. And at first the problem is very simple-minded. The horse is healed, and somehow the son is quite sure that the father is behind the illness, but he says that no, it is not him. I think the very interesting part starts somewhere here. When he has explaining, when the son is asking what happened after the death, and is there out or not, the explanations. And you can see it is like in poor cult belief description. They put me on a scale, weighed me, washed, and I was able to go near to the walls. And interesting is that the son is asking, people in our area is saying that God does not exist. Have you seen God? And the answer is quite philosophical. Everything is real. I see God every day and live like you have always lived, and don't believe anyone. I think it was quite balanced suggestion to the son. And when they separated and the son wake up, the important thing is that all these dreams, they are somehow suggesting that you are not alone when you are going to the other side, to unknown world, nowhere. For example, here is something again from Southern Estonia, when the father is coming, dead father is coming, and demonstrating the way and so on. And also quite bad is when the norms are not so good anymore, and the people or young people are making kind of non-normal things, like one small girl died, but the brother saw the grey butterfly, but he didn't open the window and didn't put the water on the window ceiling, and it was a reason for longer dreams about what happens with a poor Rosie who died and cannot go out. Where is her soul just now? What happened next? And I have no clock, so I have no imagination. What is the time? And I also forgot to say, please ask for any questions if you have them. So we tried to collect during the 21st century the dreams from children. And it was interesting because normally nobody is asking from children what kind of dreams you have or how you explain them and so on. So it was our first step, and I think it was quite interesting because it's very obvious that many of old explanations survived, but young children, they cannot explain them. So the best solution is that we are telling the dreams to mother. But the bad thing is if you don't have somebody to tell about the dreams. But I think they have quite good solutions. For example, of course, they are looking only how to explain the dreams. And you can see that sometimes it is quite awful to see kind of traditional dream. For example, here, I was eating in my sleep and all my teeth fall out. I mean, it means that you will be seriously ill. And it's a very bad situation. You can die almost. And also the next one is not good. It's again traditional. That the young girl saw how a grandmother before the time sweeping the floor. And I think the most important is that many of young people, teenagers, but also young adults, they said that it's a rather natural ways for our brain to get rid of emotions and stress accumulating during the day, and nothing more. Nothing more. Like says also kind of brain researchers, please sleep as much as you can, because otherwise you will be angry, nervous. You will make stupid decisions and stupid things. So it is possible also without any research work. And also interesting is we cannot trace it in the older folklore, and I think it's thanks to folklore collectors who love the exact stories, exact normal narratives, not kind of generalizations and kind of not narrative comments and so on. So I think it's quite obvious and quite well known also to me and to you that if you realize that it's awfully bad dream, you must wake up or fly away or find out some good solution to get out. So, in conclusion, I think there are many interesting correlations between dead and living persons. And interesting was, for me, the importance and relevance of confessions. And in Estonian case, we can see that we have very few Catholics actually, and plenty of secular people. As I said, that the secular people, they actually behave normatively, quite same as maybe Catholics or also Orthodox people. But it's very obvious that Orthodoxy as church is strong in Estonia. If I'm saying Orthodox people, and part of them saying we are members of church, but we never visit them. Maybe before foreigners, and we have Orthodox. Comparing to church, we have a sense. It's a lot of numbers. I think so. And look around thinking. But when I see that more than 50,000, I believe that the Estonian belief system is very important. And it also opens the door for all kinds of different esoteric groups and small groups. So I think the most important thing is that the self-balancing ability in connection with seeing dreams, dreaming, communicating with different big persons. That's all from my side.
Presentation. Monday, we stop. Yeah. Do you have any questions, perhaps? You might want to share some of your dreams.
Actually, I think dreams are something which is very common to all of us. And I understood reading different dream stories that we don't know, but we are repeating many of